going on, family, and welcome back to the channel. Dragon Canoe checking in again. I'm bringing it to you a little differently, live and direct. I feel like it's past due time. I made appearance on here. So let's get into it, man. For the real ones, shout out to everybody supporting the channel, the new people, the people that been rocking with me. Here we go. Another one. I'm just taking it light, honestly. Do my best to make as many connections as I can, but some of this information that you know, I have videos from 4 years ago covering this. So it just lets me know how much time and effort I didn't put into this. And y'all for supporting me, keeping me motivated to keep posting these videos. So let's get into it.
King had at sea a navy of Tharshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tharshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and garments and armor, and spices, horses and mules, a rate year by year. And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots, and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities for chariots, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones, and cedars made he to be as the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt, and linen yarn. The king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price. And a chariot came up and went out of Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and an horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of Syria.
Tremendously warlike, except the people of Copan, who were relatively peaceful. There aren't hardly any war monuments there at all. But this is a wonderful mural, a watercolor copy of it, in a small building with 3 rooms at the site of Bonampak in the southern Maya lowlands. And here you have the king, a guy named Chan Muan, as war leader in his jaguar costume, and with all of his underlings and officers and his principal wife over here. And this is called the arraignment of the prisoners. The Maya, most of these Maya political kingdoms were at war at one time or another with other ones. And warfare was a tremendously important thing, highly, highly warlike people.
So obviously his job is to push the war narrative, the savage narrative here, clearly. Some so-called intellectual knows a whole bunch of nothing, but we know the truth. We're just connecting the dots here. So we're just doing what we do best, man. It's too easy, man. I'm telling you. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a note in the comments. Real talk. All right, y'all, man. Let's get this real quick, because for the real ones, man, it's just crazy that this is coming together this way. All praise the Most High. In 775 AD, Nehemiah Theodoric reconquered the American empire of Calais-Luz. Calais-Luz was ruled by Sylvanus Toltexis, aka Solomon the Builder, the hereditary ruler of the former Hebrewish ruled Roman colony. Calais-Luz was founded in the 1st century BC by the Babylonian exilarch known as Sylvanus Ogam, or Sylvanus Brabo, Solomon II, Babylonian exilarch, ruler of Somerset in Britain, a great Roman Hebrewish ruler, soldier, and ancestor of the Swan Knights, aka Barber Hakatzin. So again, we've touched on this in recent videos. Khan Arthur, Divine Timing, Solomon the Builder. Come on now. Swan or Barbour in Hebrew. Sylvanus Toltexis also had a fleet of trading vessels known as the Ships of Solomon, or the Swan boats. The ships are shaped like a swan with its tail like the wings of a beautiful gliding swan. The Swan Knights. Solomon the Builder. After the defeat of Sylvanus Toltexis, the members of the royal family were sent back to Europe, where they were under the protection of Nehemiah Theodorus and his family. The legends of Ogier the Dane, son of Godfrey, and Dun de Mayence actually referred to Tuatha de Danann or Dunan, who are also known as the Manannan or Mayan of America. The Irish legend of Regamon also allude to this family. Come on now. And the connection to the United States. Come on now. Not just the United States, but the Mayas.
Now, this says the most ancient discovery of the West Indies by Madoc, the son of Owen Gyenth, whatever, Prince of North Wales, in the year 1170, taken out of the History of Wales, lately published by M. David, whatever, Doctor of something. So just think about that. This was taken out of the History of Wales, England area, I believe. And they're talking about 1170 or Britain area. Let's go down here. We're going to hit this part. Bear with me. It's kind of small. Madoc, another of Owen Gwyneth, his sons, left the land in connection betwixt his brethren, or between, and prepared certain ships with men and munitions, and sought adventures by sea, sailing west and leaving the coast of Ireland so far north that, and Ireland is the land of the Irie people, possibly the Erie people or Erie Indians. That's from Lake Erie, but that's a whole nother thing. And I could be wrong on that, but okay. Ireland, so far north that he came unto a land unknown, where he saw many strange things.
So this is clearly Swan Knights, King Arthur, Calais-Luz type information here. Again, you're gonna have to go back and watch some of the older videos, because it's a lot, but we're talking connection between Britain or Wales and Ireland in the United States. I mean, you could even go back just to Con Arthur. I think that video, divine timing, all that. I mean, come on now. We've been doing this. Go back and watch the older videos. But there is a major connection between Wales, England, Britain, Ireland, and the United States. Hebrew.
Underneath that building in San Bartolo, there are earlier constructions that go back to about 400 BC. And they found this block of stone in there not so long ago. One of the Guatemalan archaeologists working there, and it's got a text on it, a hieroglyphic text. This is it here. We can't read it all, unfortunately. It's so ancient. We don't know a lot about the Maya script when it really begins. We can read one of these hieroglyphs here. This one here reads Ahau. Ahau means king. It's got the name of a king there and tells us about him, but that's about all we know. But that's the oldest Maya writing discovered so far, and we wish we could read more of it.
Well, would you look at that? The oldest Maya writing literally says Hawa. That's crazy. Come on now. You can't make this up, man. How, Hawa, whatever you want to call it, man. Not in that way. All praise the Most High. You know what I'm getting at, man. How, Hawa. Simple math.
But let's continue. And it said right here, whereupon it is manifest that that country was by Britons discovered long before Columbus led any Spaniards thither. It was discovered by Britain before it was discovered by some Columbus. But everybody wants to continue to go with that story. And this is talking about going back to 1170, which means between 1492 and 1170, they already knew it existed. That's almost 300, what is that? 1170, 12, 13, 1470. That's 300 plus years of knowing where the West Indies was. Now, I'm not surprised because I showed y'all before that in this book, The History of Mexico and New Spain, the new conquest of Mexico and New Spain in 1551 in the Library of Congress, that when I translated one of the pages through ChatGPT, it talked about how the Columbus, it seems to me that Columbus, long before he came to Spain, had already thought of where the Indies were located, and that he had long sought the writings of Seneca, who speak of ships crossing the ocean, searching for the discovery. He knew about what the ancients were saying about it. It on and on.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna make a note of this too, just because it's in I got it. I've made so many videos. Tecumseh even said, we'd rather trust the British, our brothers, rather than the Americans. There's been a connection between England, Great Britain, and the United States, where we're talking Indians, or we're talking Mayans, Aztecs, Olmecs, Toltecs, Shishimecs.
So now, what about the classic Maya? They begin rolling at about 250 AD. And we know a lot about this from excavations at Tikal, Huachatun, Ceibal, dozens of Maya sites that have been thoroughly excavated and worked on over the last 50 or even 75 years. And I'm not going to go into that in great detail on the whole business because there's not all that much mystery about it anymore. We know a lot about these people because we can now read, as I say, we can read their voluminous texts. There are thousands of Maya inscriptions that can be read just about, let's say, 90% confidence rate in Maya. We know even which Maya language that they use as their sacred script.
You got to do saying, hey, somebody in Britain went there in 1170. All right, let's keep going down here. Just to kind of go back, this part right here talks about how he went back to Europe and then he came back and got some friends to go back to America again. Right here, why it just says, and taking leave of his friends, took his journey thitherward again. Therefore, it is supposed that he and his people inhabited part of those countries, for he appeareth between in Gemara. So it says that basically him and his folks in the 1170 time had already been there. They over there chilling. They over there living amongst the folks. Okay, and it says right here. It says the people. Let me calm down. It says the people honored the cross. The people honored the cross. The people who already inhabited the Americas honored the cross, because we can see crosses as well as the swastika and many other symbols all here before. Okay, they said we was possibly spoke the Hebrew language, possibly the 10 tribes of Israel and all that, whatever, right?
Hey, I'm honestly glad he didn't go into that thing. Leave that to us. We got you. Don't even worry about it. I'm doing it right here. We connecting the dots, man. Doing what we do best. Staying in check. Searching for the Melchizedek. Let's get it.
Tikal, of course, is one of the best known ones and easily visitable. Huge monumental constructions, pyramids with temples on top. There's pyramids 1 and 2 of the sacred plaza, palaces that we know were occupied by the kings, and even burial cemeteries, burial sites inside older constructions of older past kings. We know a lot about Tikal and Washington and sites like this. One of the most spectacular discoveries of all time, one of the 4 or 5 great ones before San Bartolo, and the murals were the murals of Bonampak. And not a very big site in the southern Maya lowlands, but about 800 AD, amazing murals were put in one particular building there, which show many aspects of Maya palace life, of Maya warfare going on, dances, musicians who were named, singers, theatrical performances.
Talking parties, singers, entertainers, musicians. Come on now. They giving it away, man. It's too easy. You can't make this up. I mean, we can already see the pictures. The description is just come on, man. This is slight work.
And it says, this Madoc arriving in the western country unto the which he came in the year 1170, left most of his people there, and returning back for more of his own nation, acquaintances, and friends to inhabit that fair and large country, went thither again with 10 sails. He went there and back 10 times, taking folks, according to this book. Let's keep going. Let's see. I am of the opinion that the land whereupon he was some part of the West Indies. Sorry, this part is covered up by my clock. But he says, I'm in the opinion whereupon the land basically was some part of the West Indies. Okay? So this dude, whoever this Madoc cat is, from Britain, discovered by the Britons in the year 1170, went to the West Indies, and already knew it was there, went and back and forth there 10 times. Meaning they knew how to get back and forth. Not like, oh man, I just accidentally just popped up right here. No, you going back and forth and landing in the same probably spot where you navigated to where your other folks is, because they making it seem like he going back and forth taking his folks. Like, man, come through, man. We got a spot over here down this way, man, that's going in. And they got folks over there that's, boy, history has been rewritten for real. Because they be playing, man.
Want some real though? You want some real drop? Go back and watch part 5. Why is Russia connected to the Hebrews? And then you need to go back and watch Part 6 is the Hebrew royal family, the Roman Jewish Empire founded America. And then you need to follow that up with part 7, where the Chickamauga Cherokee, the remnant of Israel. And then you need to follow that up with part 9. Is King Arthur really a Hebrew legend founded America? That's that. Hey, those are some good videos right there.
These are noble women. His mother and his mother-in-law, actually, mother and mother-in-law, who came from another site that had control of Bonampak, named Yaxchilan. So we know tremendous amounts about this, and they've been torturing these prisoners over here by mashing their fingers up, and eventually they'll be beheaded. There's plenty of Maya warfare. We know a lot about that. It used to be denied about that there was any warfare. They thought that these people were somehow or another, they didn't have war. They all lived in peace. Unfortunately, the exact opposite is true. They're humans like all of us. The humans can't stay away from war. So
all he know how to say is war, bro. Come on now. War, war, war. Don't try to compare us to you, bro. That's y'all. We're skilled in warfare, don't get me wrong, but that's y'all's game. That's not our game. We got the Most High. We don't need war.
Okay. The people honored the cross, whereby it may be gathered that Christians had been there before the coming of the Spaniards. Christians were there before the coming of the Spaniards. That's important because the whole thing is the Spaniards came there to Christianize them. Or I mentioned how cathedrals are cathedrals, right? We see that these cathedrals all over the place seem to be much more powerful and have to do with energy than meets the eye. I stumbled upon cathode ray tubes and this technology. If you forget, cathode ray tubes, basically an old way of displaying images back in the day on TVs. Before we have this liquid crystals, this is how it was. But I think this technology goes deeper in other ways, because looking at these basic diagrams of how the technology works, what do we see? We see this really interesting symbol, the cross patty. And this symbol is all over the place, in high places, right? So what does this really have to do? Cathedrals, cathodes, what do the words even mean? Well, cathedral, I'm not going to read the definition because we know what a cathedral is, but here's where it stems from. It stems from late Latin cathedralis, from cathedra, from the Greek cathedra. And what it means is seat or throne. For cathode, we have the negatively charged electrode by which electrons enter an electrical device, the opposite of an anode. We also have the positively charged electrode of an electrical device, such as a primary cell that supplies current. So basically, we have a flow of energy in and out. And it comes from the Greek kathodos, way down.
Y'all thought that ether walking video was a joke? Come on now. I'm telling y'all, bro. This gets deep, man. Like, we're just scratching the surface on this, man. I'm not even the type of channel that goes to deep, to those depths. I mean, we can go there, but like, I'm telling you, man, it gets deep, man. It gets deep. But the point is the energy, man, it flow in and out. We're talking Polaris, the star directly above our head, directly above the firmament. There's one way in and one way out. We know that. Or there might just be one way in and no way out. I don't know. You tell me.
That an entire fractal grid was built throughout Europe, like shrugging off any low frequency concept of borders and nations and flags and national pride and all of this, by a great African empire, to have this constructed by this empire, that can we can call them the Black Soil people, we can call them the pre-Adamites, we can call them the Moors. Moor also means teacher in Hebrew, which I keep reminding people it doesn't simply mean a black man. In fact, there was no differentiation between a black and a white man until the 1685, when the British colonialists in Virginia decided to differentiate between the black and the white man. Prior to the 1600s, you would have experienced these cities in exactly the same way as a Moor or a native Umayyad architect or teacher or Persian scribe would have done. Just because you weren't the same color skin as somebody, there was no reason to differentiate between them and you. If I was a pale person, I would have just as much right to partake of the water from the fountain as a black man who built it. And most of Europe was built by black, swarthy, Moorish teachers.
He said it. I mean, I can say it all day long, man. I feel like y'all want a white man to say it, man. I feel like y'all maybe, and I feel like some of y'all thought I was white too, man. So if y'all thought I was white, man, y'all wrong for that. But let's get back to the video.
And crowns, when we look at crowns, we see this symbol that we see in the cathode. Could it be that this symbol, what it truly means or what it does at some level, is project? And that's why it's up at the top at the crown? Perhaps. These things are pretty nice, right? I wouldn't mind one. Oh, snap. Look, I got one. Just kidding. So this is why I told you to pay attention in the beginning. This is a pretty controversial coin, and I don't even want to get into it deeply, but this image is said to be Queen Charlotte's son, George IV. Not looking like what I showed you at the beginning, right? But you could see him wearing this crown with plumes and the symbol, the words "I serve," which relate to Wales. But look at the top of that statue, right? That looks like his head. And that is a pretty nice crown. So here are a couple different images of him with different issues of this penny, the Barbados copper. But we also see this symbol even in images that I've showed, and some I've just discovered. Now, the Brotherhood of Blackheads. What an interesting name, right? In Riga, Latvia. Who knew there were blackheads in Riga, Latvia? Well, check them out. Pretty nice place, right?
Now, this in itself shows us that racism is nothing more than brainwashing, and Europe was as multicultural a continent as America at the time. We don't know much about America at the time, but there were black and white people in America already long before the 17th century.
Hey, man, y'all need to go back and watch More on More War, man, or any of these videos, man. What's the one? If was a fifth, hey, that was a speed run. That was one of my best videos, in my opinion. Y'all need to go back and watch these videos. I've been making these connections, man. When House of Gwynedd, Maddox touched down in 1170, they was brothers. They look like us. And then they seen the Mayas, and they look like us too. And Now, and then they realized, like, hey, they made a connection, and then the Maddox House of Gwinnett start coming from Wales to Mexico, from Mexico to Wales. It's a connection, I'm telling you. Watch the videos, man. We've been saying this.
When you look at the history of Europe, approximately 400 AD, a group of Europeans coming from the northern part of Europe, which you call Scandinavia, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, and what you call Russia and Denmark. They came down in a series of invasions starting in 400 AD, and they smashed the Roman Empire. These invasions continued to push 500 AD, 600, 700, 800, 900, and they kept pushing down into Central Europe. When these groups of people who are beginning this invasion, they're called Germanic people. They will come in and exterminate the Europeans who are presently there, which were primarily Romans and Celts. Those Europeans you call Germanic people. Three sets of these German people would go into what is now England or Great Britain. England and Great Britain was previously occupied by a group of Europeans called Celts, who are now survived as the Irish, the Scottish, the Wales. So those Germans invaded into what you call England. The three groups that invaded the German groups are Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. They will come and invade what you call England and exterminate the Irish.
So let me stop it there. I'm going to get a little bit closer here, but wait a minute. Now that you've heard him, so you don't think it's just a black man that said it, here it is in the textbook. Angles, Saxons, Jutes going into these areas in that time frame in the 400s. He ain't lying.
All right, man. Let me set the stage for this next part, because I don't think y'all be understanding this one. All right. So based off the information he just said, based off what we know, again, go back and watch the videos. More war. If was a fifth Holy Roman Empire. I mean, the list goes on. If we were occupying these spaces in Europe, most of these informations and archives were related to information that's related to us or a history connected to us. You know what I mean? So the fact that they're raiding these archives, the fact that this information is the cause of the war, they don't tell you that part. There's an information war, and it was the first to get it. You know what I mean? So obviously it was vitally important. But we got to remember who occupied these spaces prior to World War II, leading up from the 1170 all the way up through the 1900s. So just connecting the dots.
They had set up a research center for Masonic studies in two large Masonic buildings of two of the largest German Masonic lodges in Berlin that were taken over by the Nazi regime because Masons were one of the first to suffer in Germany. These buildings became the headquarters for the Gestapo. But in the basements, they set up bomb-proof shelters for the libraries of the materials that they had collected, first of all, from lodges all over Germany, and then, of course, from France also, and from other countries in the West, Belgium, the Netherlands.
The boxes of archives were meticulously indexed by SS officers, Freemasonry specialists, historians, and a team of translators. Nevertheless, they were overwhelmed by the mass of thousands and thousands of documents, ranging from notes taken in 18th century meetings to early 20th century conferences on anti-fascism. A wealth of information for the specialists. But there was little time to make use of their spoils.
Starting in 1942, and especially by 1943, the Allies began heavily bombing Germany, and so they began evacuating into the far-flung regions of the Reich. The Masonic archives were evacuated in part to Tanzenberg, where they were discovered by the Americans.
After the defeat of Sylvanus Texas, the members of the royal family were sent back to Europe, where they were under the protection of Nehemiah Theodorus and his family. The legends of Ogier the Dane.
So when you look at the people who have ish in the suffix, it is a person of Danish descent. Ish, as we know, is somewhat that. The people are called Danes. What you don't know are the people are called Danes from Denmark. Danes are from Denmark, and people who are somewhat a Dane are Dane-ish. That would be a person who is a mixed Dane, because Danes were black, or I'm sorry, melanated, okay? So if you are a Dane, a melanated person from Denmark, you are a Dane. If you're a mulatto, you are Danish. You have a little bit of that Dane blood in you. That's what a Danish is. Britain. You got Britons, you got British. Okay? A Briton is a member of one of the peoples inhabiting Britain prior to the Anglo-Saxon invasion. What? Who invaded? Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. A native or subject of Great Britain. A British person, even though they don't even speak of it on this one, a British person, ish being somewhat of or related to, meaning you have a little Briton blood. You are British, but you're not a full Briton. Irie, but really it's not spelled that way. I wanted to show you that because it's really spelled like this. The Irie people from Ireland. Okay, they changed the spelling, took the E off, makes sense, but country occupying the major portion of Ireland, whatever, this refers to the people, the Irie people. But you would think that they are Irish, ish being partly Irie, okay? Somewhat of, but not fully that.
Somewhat of, but not really that. I like how he put that. Somewhat of, but not really that. It ain't that. It ain't that. Come on now. This is gold, man. This is just. Come on, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a note in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think. This is going crazy. Somewhat of, but not really that. Of or relating to, but not as such. Like, come on, man. Ish. Come on, you can't make this up. We know who's who, man. We're just having fun with it.
Spring 1945, the Red Army and Allied troops destroyed the Third Reich. Once again, many different parties were eager to obtain the millions of archives that had been plundered by the Nazis.
The archives changed hands after a few months because the Allies, the Americans, the British, the French, and the Soviets, all scrambled to get their hands on them. This was first of all for military reasons. To obtain operational information, you need to have the enemy's archives. But they all reacted differently. The US gave them back to their original owners.
The legends of Ogier the Dane, son of Godfred and Dun de Mayence, actually referred to Tuatha de Danann or Dunan, who are also known as the Manannan or Mayan of America. The Irish legend of Regamon also allude to this family. Come on now.
Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. They will come in and invade what you call England and exterminate the Irish or the Celts. Their name will change into Englishmen. And when these Englishmen come to America, the name of these people will change to Americans.
Ish.
So the point that I'm going to point out to you, and you see this scheme,
English.
Americans are Englishmen.
English.
Englishmen are Germans.
Ish.
The Jews, Angles, and Saxons no different than Hitler. So let's clear in your mind about who these Europeans are you call an American. They come from Germany.
Let me just interrupt them real quick to prove this, because you'll say, well, how do you know they were black? Sierra Leone was founded in 1787 and settled for freed slaves and black Britons, not black British people. It was the British Crown, the white folks, establishing the province of Sierra Leone, okay, for taking out the Britons. They moved the Britons out, like they said, to Sierra Leone, and the British, set up shop.
Frenchmen. So Frenchmen are Germans. Another group, two groups went into northern Italy and northern Spain. They're called the Visigoths and Vandals. Those white English, the white Spanish, and the white Italian, the white from Yugoslavia, they're Germans. Another group of Germans will move to the west. That group is called the Rus, R-U-S. They will comprise your white Russian.
I don't have no more time, so you get it. Ish.
Man, when you really open your eyes, man, you'll see the signs, man. It's all around you. Check this out, man. Just peep what we got going on next. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a note in the comments, man. I'm just saying, open your eyes.
It's actually the oldest Scottish Rite patent in the world. It's Frederick Dalco's 1801 patent, and it's hand-drawn, signed by the original members of our Supreme Council. And what's interesting about it is that not only is it hand-drawn and hand-watercolored, but the detail on it is truly amazing. It has a black double-headed eagle, and that eagle actually has pupils. And from what I understand is they would use a single hair with ink to put the dot in the eagle's pupil.
Of relating to or being, chiefly an adjective indicating nationality or ethnic group. Of or relating to or being, okay? It's relating to, but it's not that. It's related to it, but it's not that.
So I wanted to show you these maps. So here's the 1847 Discerno map.
I originally thought that the Aztecs started in Mexico City and went north, and you're saying that she started somewhere in the north and then ended up in Mexico City. Is that correct?
The basic story is that they came from somewhere in the north and a place called Aztlan.
Aztlan, the name of the Aztecs' mythical homeland, has a couple of possible meanings: place of herons or place of whiteness. According to legend, the Aztecs' ancestors lived in Aztlan until their god, Huitzilipochtli, told them to head south until they saw an eagle on top of a cactus devouring a snake. The eagle eating the snake or the serpent. I mean, I've seen that imagery before.
Yeah, no, and the reason you have, and most people have also, is that in the Mexican flag, you have that symbolism. There's the eagle, the serpent, and the cactus. Now, this particular map has that imagery also.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I've been a journalist.
Come on, bro. Open your eyes, bro. It's simple. History is not what you've been told. But hey, we're just taking it one day at a time. That's all we can do, man. We just riding the wave, dog. Wave surfing. You know how we get down. We having fun with it, man. So, just keep your eyes open.
It's actually the oldest Scottish Rite patent in the world. It's Frederick Dalco's 1801 patent, and it's hand-drawn, signed by the original members of our Supreme Council. And what's interesting about it is that not only is it hand-drawn and hand-watercolored, but the detail on it is truly amazing. It has a black double-headed eagle, and that eagle actually has pupils. And from what I understand is they would use a single hair with ink to put the dot in the eagle's pupil.
The map is part of the Treaty of Hidalgo, the agreement signed in 1848, which ended the Mexican-American War. Mexico surrendered 9 states, including California and Texas. The treaty map is one of the last times the Aztecs' American origins are ever mentioned in print.
Here it is blown up. One of the first things that I find in here on the confluence of the Colorado and the Green River, and that's in the Four Corners region of the U.S., is the Antigua Residencia de los Aztecas.
Does that say the ancient home of the Aztecs?
Absolutely.
Combining a modern map of the United States with the 1847 treaty map suggests that the ancient home of the Aztecs could be the American Southwest.
Now, for most of us, we know this information. We already know this. We know this. American Southwest, Utah, Judah. Trust me, man. It's a beautiful place. I live in Colorado, so I'm telling you right now, man, it's something different in the air here. I'm not even in Utah, but I mean, I'm telling you, the mountains, the air, all of it is different. If you ain't been here, you should come visit. Yeah, so and I'm from the Midwest, so you know what I'm saying. But it's different here. But I mean, come on, you see how quickly he tried to pivot that we're from the American Southwest, and he's like, oh yeah, Wisconsin. Nah, bro. So state the facts. Let's keep it simple here. We them ones.
But could there be a connection to Wisconsin too? How come I've never heard of this before?
Well, the more amazing story is that I found actually 200 maps older than this one, going from 1847 all the way to the 1500s, tracking the same story, except that the older ones show Salt Lake as the point of origin.
Great Salt Lake is the largest inland body of salt water in the Western Hemisphere. It's located in the northern part of Utah.
Because see, the story about the Mexican Indians or the Aztecs coming from the north is that they came from a body of water in an island. And so all the older maps show Salt Lake. It's amazing.
So this body of water was Great Salt Lake?
Exactly. Well, I'm not telling you that it's correct, but I can guarantee you that there is a map tradition going 300 years that is from the 1500s to 1847. After the war, all this stuff magically disappears.